My name is Shari Sweeney. Some of you know me. I've had in class, but I'm just going to talk real briefly about my background, primarily as a personal trainer, and then I always get a lot of questions at the end, but I want to focus on a couple things in particular. This is me. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that's kind of what I've done and what I do. Of course, 5 Seasons Sports Club closed, if you didn't know that, in May. The club was purchased. And right now, I am, in addition to teaching here, I do spinning, Pilates, nutrition, first aid, a bunch of other stuff. In addition to that, I am teaching Pilates at the Movement Factory in Lakewood. And, you know, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I am certified through all of these. If you're wondering what the heck a Pilates reformer is, that's a Pilates reformer. No, I don't make people do that. Although that happens to be one of the ladies I studied with. So you can see I've got a lot. On the other hand, I've been doing this a long time, probably longer than some of you have been alive. So it takes you a while to accumulate that stuff. In my opinion, if you want to, particularly if you want to go into group exercise, the best and most recognized certification, by the way, is American Council on Exercise. And they have a couple new weight, lifestyle management, that kind of thing, new certifications. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. If you want to be a personal trainer, I don't know how many of you do, in my opinion, here's some things you need. You need the education, you need the certification, the ability to design personalized programs. As a manager at 5 Seasons, a problem I saw oftentimes when I hired people, particularly if they were right out of school, was this kind of one-size-fits-all mentality where, you know, that morning or whatever, they'd write down a workout and do the same workout with every client all day. That's not only a recipe for disaster because you could hurt somebody, but it doesn't make sense from a relationship standpoint. It doesn't fit everybody's needs and goals. So this is one of the big things that when I was hiring personal trainers and I was just watching them work on the floor that I looked for. It's not enough to do the same workout and just adjust the amount of weight or that sort of thing. The ability to relate to people, that's, you know, that kind of goes without saying, and it seems obvious, but some people really have a problem with that, even in the beginning. The ability to build rapport. Y'all know what that means? Yes. You have to be able to meet somebody, and in the space of time you have for your consultation, make them leave there going, I like this person and I trust them. That's super important because if you want to make the sale, you need to do that. And sales skills. I have to say, in my opinion, this is one of the most important things about being a personal trainer or any kind of manager in sports and fitness. Again, a lot of the kids that I hired right out of school had no concept of how to sell. You have to be a salesperson because in the end, being a personal trainer is sales. You know, that's your goal, is to make money, right? For you and for the club. So the ability to sell is super important, particularly if you end up working somewhere, either personally or as a department. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have revenue goals. We had revenue goals at 5 Seasons as a department and as individuals. So as unromantic as it sounds and as unexciting as it sounds, if you want to keep a job, you have to meet those goals. All right? So this is what you do. You talk a little bit, you listen a lot, you ask questions. One thing I found about people is they love to talk about themselves. if you give your person, your potential client, an opening, again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to start talking. They're going to give you more information than what you asked for, which is good. The more information you can get, the better. And pay attention. So, how many kids do they have? How old are they? What do they do for a living? Is their spouse or significant other active? All of this stuff might seem like it's unimportant, and you might be sitting there going, oh, shut the heck up. But they just want to talk about themselves, and you're going to ask a few questions. Chances are, and you should, if you don't, have some kind of form, either through whatever company you end up working for, or for yourself, if you're working on yourself. More than a medical history, because you do need that too, but somewhere where you can get answers to the questions that you really need to know. What are you doing now for a workout program? How's that working? What are your goals? How's your nutrition? That kind of thing. So from all of this, you should be able to lay out a very basic program for this person, or at least a plan. Here's what I would recommend. It sounds like you need blah, blah, blah. And you're going to outline their options. That doesn't mean money, by the way. You could do 2 workouts a week. You could do 3 if you up the intensity. Do not screw this part up, because if you screw that part up, you're going to have a really hard time getting them to buy a package. Trust me. And I'll say this again, this is how, and this works for me, I don't know if it'll work for you, but when I was at 5 Seasons, we had a departmental goal. Depending on the season, it might have been 30,000 or 40,000 in sales for personal training. And I would, and my goal was more like 5,000. So I had to make $5,000 a month in training. One of the ways I think I did that was, at this point, when you first meet with somebody, do not talk about money. Don't talk about them buying a package with you. Don't talk about money. Never. That's going to turn them off right away. It's all about them, right? It's all about them. So, sales skills, right? I said establish a relationship. They have to be comfortable with you. I was at the chiropractor the other day, and I overheard this guy come in, and the chiropractor asked, how's your workout program going? Did you find a personal trainer you like better than so-and-so? And this was a guy maybe in his late 50s, early 60s, and he says, well, I met with this guy, he's maybe about 25 years old, and he's, this big muscle-bound guy, and he made me toss a big medicine ball around and do this, that, and the other. And I asked my chiropractor, I'm like, is that the right thing for him to be doing? And she said, absolutely not. So I could tell that this guy was not comfortable with this trainer. So they have to feel comfortable with you as a person, and they have to trust you as a person and a trainer, okay? Complimentary workout. Should you give them a free workout first? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to lose money on it, but it doesn't matter, because you'll make it on the back end. Because if you don't work them out, at least a little bit, they're not going to know what your style is. And it may not be right for them. That's okay. It was an option at 5 Seasons for a while, and then we made it a requirement that they work them out first. Now, not a full workout. It would be something along the lines of, well, based on what you've told me, we really need to work a little bit on your balance and core strength. When I train people, and I'm saying this to them, when I train people, there are certain things I do to help with your balance. I'm going to show you a few exercises today. I haven't said anything about money. I haven't said anything about myself buying a package. You give them some kick butt exercises and they go, holy moly, this person really knows what they're doing, then you can say, how about buying, we have these packages and here's your options. Works like a charm, I am telling you. But it takes some people it takes a really long time to get to that point. If you're not used to it, the more you do it, the better you get. Who has questions? Come on, somebody has a question. Who wants to be a personal? Yes.
If you were running your own personal training business, say out of your own gym or your own house, what would you charge people?
He's asking, if you're running your own business, what would you charge people? That's kind of a loaded question. You need to do some research and figure out what other people are charging, because you don't want to charge significantly more than them, but you don't want to charge significantly less. You don't want to underprice yourself. You need to price yourself in such a way that it's of value to you and it's of value to them. Nobody wants to hire a personal trainer for, $15 an hour, because then you think they're just some Joe who walked off the street. At a lot of gyms, like if you're at somebody else's gym, they'll give you a range. Like if you're a new person, you charge this much. If you're, for me, at the end point, if somebody came and bought one session, which nobody ever did, one session was $100. That's the high end. But you have to do some research. Yes?
For insurance purposes,
Mm-hmm.
do you get insurance for yourself as well as like the company getting insurance for you? Do you need to be covered separately?
This is a good question about insurance coverage. Should you get your own? Absolutely, yeah. If you're working for a gym or a health club, they have liability insurance, which will cover certain things, but if the person sues you, you need to have your own liability insurance. It's not expensive. You can get it through, whatever body you're certified through. It's really cheap and it's worth it. Yes, ma'am.
What steps does it take to become a personal trainer?
What steps does it take to become a personal trainer? Do you work out yourself? Okay. You need to be kind of a workout person, if that makes any sense, because you need to be able to feel what you want the person to do. So work out a lot, learn a lot, which you're doing now, and certifications will teach you a little bit more about how the body works and that kind of thing. And if you feel that you have the certification and the education, watch other trainers. If you work for a gym and you don't know what you're doing, or you join somebody else's gym or whatever, even if you want your own business, I would highly recommend shadowing, seeing how other people do it. But you do need to get the education, and you have to have one of the recognized certifications. You have to. You won't be hired without it. Anyone else?
Well, thank you, Shari. We really appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Please give her a round of applause.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.